Hello. Well, this morning I was thinking about our guest today, Gwyneth Paltrow, and I am so excited to talk to her about co-parenting. And I've learned one of the most important life lessons from my tiny existence, which is I cannot control things, because so much of the time, you know, I just don't get that luxury of things being exactly the way I would like them to be. And I have learned that it is my reaction I can control. And we're going to talk about it when you have to co-parent and figuring that out. Not only is it an art, but it is within our control of how we deal with it with our kids. And all I ever want to do is make my kids feel safe. And again, we can't control everything, but we can have a true part in how I conduct myself within our family. And I can't wait to talk about it because it's such a big part of my world, and my kids really are my priority. Another thing I couldn't control this weekend was I took Frankie to the aquarium, and we drove an hour and we watched the river out our car windows, and I hugged the curves in my minivan through the lanes like I was coloring in a book. It was Sunday. And when we finally got there, unfortunately, I didn't know you had to make reservations, and we were not able to get in because rules are rules. And that's the lesson I tried to teach Frankie. I certainly didn't want to teach her the wrong thing in that moment. But then, of course, I asked the lady if I gave her some cash, could she look the other way? And she said, "Ma'am, you can make reservations online and book your tickets," with an unmovable tone. And I said, "Oh, God, please, no, I'm not a payer offer normally. I just thought since you were closing soon anyway, and I just think your bosses should actually know what an amazing person you are, that you will simply not break the rules." But then I was curious, has anyone else ever tried to find a clever way in when, like, the signs say no entry, so to speak? I love receiving a no after I've tried everything. And if you have a story, without breaking the law, of course, if you do have one, I want to hear it, okay? Have you tried to figure out how to get your kid into a sold-out aquarium type of thing? Go to Twitter and send us your story and use the hashtag #rulebendingparent. So good news, Frankie learned that things don't always go as planned and things aren't always within our control. And we went to Nathan's Hot Dogs, and I found one open carnival game, and we played all the money that woman wouldn't take. And good for her. And we drove home happy, and life was good. And when you know your kids are truly happy, not because they got what they wanted, but because Plan B was just as good, well, that was my morning share. And now let's get into some important and awesome things taking place in and around our world. It's time for Drew's News.
Sir, ma'am, guy! Ma'am, I asked you a question. Tell me your story! It's Drew's News.
Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the tidal wave of news out there? Well, relax. We've got you covered. We sift through it all to find a few nuggets to start your day, and here we go. Let's see what made the papers. Excuse me, frog in throat. Hang on. The Detroit News is reporting something that sparked my interest. Lego is going to swap out its plastic packaging in favor of paper packaging. And all because kids demanded it. However, Lego pieces are still incredibly painful to step on, and maybe they can work on that next. These kids make me feel so optimistic. I mean, Lego is a huge brand. This will have a giant impact. Reducing plastic is so important. My friend Cameron Diaz, I'm not name dropping, she just happens to be my friend. She used to get on me for the last 20 years. She was so ahead of the curve. You know, she's always been environmentally conscious. And she used to turn off all my lights and my pool heater and tell me to go get a hybrid car. And, you know, I've switched. I made her a promise a year ago. And I drink out of these paper water companies, which they show that the packaging is possible and they taste delicious. I really love them. And I have this metal cup that's missing. I'll show you later. And I used to drink out of styrofoam. So, like, this is a big deal for me. And I'm one small person. I don't think I can make a big change. And when I see something like Lego is doing this, then I think change is possible. And if we all continue to be mindful about these things, we can change our world for our kids. But again, parents, when you're screaming stepping on one of those Legos. Ah! That's okay too. So moving on, our next story, because that's what happens when you step on a Lego. Ah! This story warmed my heart. In a radio interview the other day, Usher shared this story behind his latest single, I Cry. And he's quoted as saying that he didn't have a relationship with his father. And so when he was watching a movie with his two young sons and there was an emotional father-son moment on screen, he started to cry. And then his sons were shocked and they asked him, "Are you crying, Dad?" And he said that he took that moment to say, "Yeah, I am crying," and that it was okay. And a song was born. Thank you, Usher. We should be teaching boys that it's okay to cry at an early age. And he says that empathy can bring us all closer together in incredibly difficult times such as we're in, and I couldn't agree more. So it turns out men are crying now more than ever. Welcome to the club.